So, welcome on this little extra episode. I actually got a new tent again. For those of you that saw the April episode, saw that I had the Lanshan 1. I now have the Lanshan 2, which is a two-person tent. And since I am planning to take my wife and myself out into the Swedish mountains, we're gonna try to put up that tent tonight and sleep in it. I will be by myself, but I think I will get a good feel for whether this actually works as a tent for the two of us or not. So that's what we're gonna do. It's gonna take a few minutes because it's the first time I put this thing up, but I am hopeful that it will be relatively uneventful, as I already knew how the first one was actually being put up. But to be honest, it arrived this week, so I have actually not tried this at all. And I have no idea what is actually in the box. So you open the sides, and then all that happens is that there is a tent in here, which I take out like this. It is nicely wrapped with a piece of string around it, which I will try to take out. So then we have that, and then in here I suspect, yes, here are the pins that go into the ground. So one of the things I didn't share is that I will also be testing out a new sleeping bag. This is a Chinese brand. I can't see what it is right now, but it is supposed to be between plus 15 and 0, although I think that 0 is probably a little bit optimistic. It's a down sleeping bag. It was quite cheap, so I'm actually quite curious how it will work. And tomorrow morning you'll hear more about how it actually worked in practice. So I thought I would quickly show you what it looks like on the inside, so you have a bit of a feel for that. So the tent I now have open. As you can tell, I pumped up my sleeping mat, and the sleeping bag is now basically airing up. It came out of a rather tight box, so it's a bit, but there's still quite a bit of space here on this side, which is good because that's where the second person has to lie, which will be my wife in this case. And you can see how things are. I think I still have to connect those little things to the sides, but by and large the thing is coming together. I have 3 pillows with me because 2 of them are leaky, and I would like to sleep with something, so there you can see my pillows. But this is what it looks like, and I will have to deal a little bit with getting the inner tent up so that it doesn't disturb me while sleeping. But it looks all quite comfy and well set for a good night's rest now. is that you haven't actually seen where I am. This is called Oxsjön. It's a lake very close to where I live. It's about a 20-minute walk or so with a backpack. And it is really gorgeous here. It is a bit close to the rest of the world, and you can see that there are trails around here. But it's just super nice. And as you can see, there are some picnic tables here, but I'm here all by myself. It's 9:20, I think, in the evening. You can see I have a little bit to drink there. The fire is going. And in the background you can see my tent. There's another trail up there that goes to another lake about maybe a 20-minute walk from here, which is called Oxsjön. So if you're ever in the area and are able to visit Sandsjöbacka, this is the kind of landscape that you should be expecting, but especially the lake is gorgeous and it has lots and lots of water birds. So I think it's worthwhile to visit this at some point. So in our April video, we actually recorded a long discussion between Klaas and myself on one of the rules of life. As some of you that are interested in this may have seen, I wrote a long blog post series about 2 or 3 years ago with the title 15 Rules for Life. And in April we talked about the second rule, which is have a purpose. Which is a little bit of a difficult topic, I feel, because on the one hand there is a lot of discussion in society about, oh, you have to have a purpose, you have to pursue your purpose, etc., etc. And on the other hand, we're all so driven by what societal programming we have, what programming we got from our parents, that it's hard to sometimes to talk about what is my purpose, how do I even decide on my purpose. But the challenge is that I believe that even if you may not think that life has a purpose, or I still think it is important that you choose a purpose to put your life in service of. I think that one of the big things that leads to a better life is that you focus on something that is bigger than yourself. Just focusing on yourself is, I think, a bit fake, a bit unfortunate, a bit unnecessary to do that. So the idea of having a purpose is that you focus on putting your life in service of something that you believe is worth of your time. Now, what does that mean? I think that concretely speaking, that's something where I have spent an enormous amount of time in my life focusing on. To be honest, I'm a pretty competitive person, especially in my 20s and 30s. And at that point, my purpose was completely self-centered. But as I grew a little older, or a little less young if you want, the focus on purpose for me increasingly became driven by the realization that virtually all progress that we've seen in the human condition over the last hundreds of years, and probably even thousands of years, has been technology driven. And even though many people are anti-technology, and there's a lot of fear of AI right now, and before that there was a lot of fear of the climate going to kill us all, which was all caused by technology, etc., etc. I believe that if we look at the quality of human life, and most of our lives are better than they've ever been before in the history of humankind, it is all due to technology. Anything from medicine and vaccines and antibiotics to digital technologies such as the internet, mobile phones, GPS, and all kinds of solutions that we have available that in many ways do two things. One, it reduces suffering. I mean, let's face it, many people died unnecessary deaths because they were in traffic accidents that could have been avoided by better technology. They got diseases that could have been treated with better technology, or missed loved ones because they were unable to connect with them. So there is a reduction in suffering, I believe, driven by technology. And I think that the quality of life for many people is actually better now that we have technology. I mean, the fact that I can call my mother while walking here, who is well over 1,000 kilometers away, is something that I really appreciate. The fact that I can watch YouTube videos of people that do things that I think are interesting and exciting, and they live halfway across the globe, is something that I believe adds value. The fact that my car warns me when I get into a dangerous traffic situation is something that I really appreciate. So for me, the purpose, especially on the professional side of my life, has been to focus on what can I do to help accelerate the adoption of technology in society. And in my role, for some of you may know me, I'm a professor of software engineering. I most focus on digital technologies, so software, data, and artificial intelligence. And I believe that those are some of the technologies that have the most impact on human life at the moment. Of course, there's a lot happening in biology and medicine and in material science and in all kinds of other areas. But if we look over the last, say, 50 years or so, digital technologies have played a very important role in improving the human condition, I think. And we see that in lots of places where we had the mechanical solutions, we had the ability to sense data or sense situations, but it's with digital technologies that have allowed us to, in many ways, improve the quality of the solutions. I think that has led to a lot of improvement. So my purpose, if we talk about my purpose, is to do what I can to accelerate the introduction of new technology into society, because I believe that technology fundamentally is a force for good. We see that technology is, by and large, of course, neutral. You can use a knife to chop up vegetables or to kill people. So the technology is typically neutral, but humans, by and large, have good intents and want to do the right thing. And therefore, by and large, people will try to use technology to create improvements in their own lives and in the lives of their loved ones. So that's what I now focus on. And if I look at the work that I do in the research center that I lead, if I look at the work that I do with the startups that I'm involved in, as well as the consulting work that I do, that is typically what I'm looking for, trying to accelerate the adoption of new technology in society. That isn't your purpose. Your purpose is something you have to spend time thinking about. What is it that you want to get out of life, and what do you think is important to put your life in service of? But I do think it's important to not live a nihilistic life and assume that that things are only getting worse, because really they are not. It's very easy to think that, it's very easy to claim, but as they say in the stock market, the bears sound the smartest, but the bulls are typically right. So the bears, the negative ones, are the ones that sound often very smart and have beautiful theories of why things will go to hell in a handbasket. But if you look at what has happened in the stock market over the last 100+ years, it has been basically only an upward journey. So the bulls are typically right, even if the bears occasionally have a few points where they can actually win. And I think the same is true for the society that we live in. Yes, there are areas of concern, there are wars going on, there are all kinds of anti-globalization movements, we have presidents that we may not like, but I think that most of us, especially in the Western world, have a life that our parents and grandparents could only dream of. So, and again, that was driven by technology. So I believe that the world is getting better. In that sense, I'm very much a techno-optimist. And because I'm a techno-optimist, that is also where my purpose lies. But that's not your purpose. The point of this whole little diatribe was to actually get across the point that I believe that for you to have a good life, you need to be very explicit about what is the purpose that you have in this life and what is the purpose that you want to pursue in this life. Because I think that that's where you're going to find most satisfaction, that you put your life in service of something, that you're going to be suffering for something that you actually care about and feel is worthy of your time and attention. And with that, thank you. So it's way too late. It's 10:30 already, but I was sitting outside and it was so gorgeous and so beautiful that I just couldn't find it in me to go to sleep. So it's now 10:30. It's still very warm and nice out there, but I need to get some sleep in. So People, if you haven't been out in the forest for a while, this is really an amazing experience. So just get yourself out there and enjoy it, because it's beautiful. It's totally beautiful. I'm in my new sleeping bag. I'm in my new tent. So we're gonna see how things go. I'll let you know in the morning. Good night.